All Grown Up, and I really want to shout it out on this week's episode of Cartoon Buffoons. I'm your host, Wyatt. Who is here with me today, as always?
Hello, I'm Morgan. I'm Fee and Foo's older sister, but you can just call me Foom.
And we're here to talk about All Grown Up, also known as...
I really want to shout it out.
Exactly. Also known as Rugrats All Grown Up.
Worst title. That's a far worse title.
Much worse title, yeah. All Grown Up, questionable title in general, but I think that it does kind of work, and we'll talk about that. But this is an interesting one because we already did a Klasky Chupo show previously with As Told by Ginger. We did that with Tariq a couple weeks ago. Fantastic show, just like one of the best that we've ever talked about.
Maybe the best,
possibly the best that we've ever talked about.
Like not our favorite, but definitely probably up there with the best. Yeah.
So I was curious how this was going to go because I hadn't seen the show in a very long time. So I was, I had my preconceived notions of how it was going to be. So visiting it again, Morgan, I want to ask, I guess we usually do like history or whatever. What is your first impression of it before going into like your history of the show? Like, what is your impression like after watching it this time, I guess is what I mean, before we go into the history.
My impression was at first, I picked this just to like, for transparency's sake. I was, after watching As Told by Ginger, nervous as hell. Because As Told by Ginger was so fucking tough. Like, oh, is this going to just be like a shitty version of that?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say I stayed nervous a little bit watching it at the beginning.
Sure.
But then I was like, okay, sweat on my forehead. Okay, my goat's not washed. My goat's not washed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was my first reaction. My history, though. So it's funny. All Grown Up used to be on Netflix and stuff, if I remember correctly. And I would so I was like big into Victorious and iCarly and stuff, and I would rewatch those constantly because I was on Victorious.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't do that bit.
Yeah,
I can't do that bit on here. Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. Anyway, but yeah, I would watch All Grown Up with it, and I remember just loving it a lot at like the age of like 16. It just felt it was just really good, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So like I got a really strong connection to it. I also remember the special, like the first Rugrats special that was like the backdoor pilot for it, and watching that and like liking it a lot.
Sure.
Back then, like when I was like 10, like 12 or something, liking it a lot. We're gonna talk about that
Yeah,
a little
we
bit.
are.
But yeah, I was just really into it, and I remember going back to it over and over again, like All Grown Up. But it's been like I think like 6 years since the last time I did it.
Sure.
So I was a little iffy because honestly, guys, tastes can change in 6 years.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You can something you love can just be ass in 6 years. That's all it takes.
That's
because you are constantly evolving as a person.
Yeah, I felt like there's a couple times where I felt like, oh, is this going to be whatever? I felt even with shows that I know I love, I felt maybe there's like these elements of it that are bad or poorly aged or whatever. Like when we did like Billy and Mandy, there's some like dodgy jokes in there or whatever. But overall, I was like, this is aged pretty well, and. Yeah, so I definitely get that something that you like revere as a masterpiece or not even a masterpiece, just like something that you love, like a comfort show. You come back to it and you're like, this is kind of mid, actually. So
yeah.
But I guess to get into my like first impression, like I came in thinking it was going to be very mid. I was very pleasantly surprised by how good the show was. I think it's probably the weakest of the 4 shows that we've talked about for this like little Nickelodeon miniseries, but if you're not counting like the bad seasons of SpongeBob, I guess that's cheating. But SpongeBob is cheating because we just talked about the first 3 seasons. But like barring that, like it doesn't quite reach the highs of As Told by Ginger or Harvey Beaks, but I did enjoy it quite a bit, especially as a longtime Rugrats fan. And just like getting to revisit the characters in like a completely different context. And whereas my history with it, like I said, I've been a Rugrats fan, as many children were. because your parents are just like, this show is about babies. Here you go, dumb baby, watch it. That's what I should have done for the intro, is like done a Angelica dumb babies thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember when the episode aired in like 2002 or 2001, and I wasn't like actively watching the show at that point. It was just like vaguely aware of it, because my main experience with Rugrats before this was like the season 2 tapes and just like rewatching them. So like anytime I watch an episode from season 2, I'm like, I know this exactly, every single fucking image and frame of this episode. I
could draw this episode.
Yeah.
I could draw you this fucking episode, dude. You have no idea.
Like every single time I'm like, I don't remember this, and then I keep watching. I'm like, no, I remember exactly this. So before we got into the, like, I wanted to rewatch that original special because I remember liking it. I was watching it with my mom. I wanted to be like, okay, I should watch this before watching the show proper. First of all, bad that you have to watch a couple minutes of season 8 Rugrats before the actual story picks up, because it's bad. So.
I kind of want to take a pause before we talk about All Grown Up, so I can talk about Rugrats, because Rugrats makes me feel like a fucking lunatic. I get so angry because someone goes, Morgan, you liked Rugrats. What's your opinion of the later season? It says, and I know I'm going to sound like a giant fucking dweeb for saying this. It focuses too much on them being babies. They're too baby in it. And someone goes, what the fuck are you talking about? That's the premise. Like, no, it's like, look, dude, you're right. It's the premise. But if you watch the first 3 seasons and watch more of it, you know what I mean. I'm not fucking crazy. I swear to God. I start fucking foaming at the mouth. I'm like, please, I'm normal. Please. It's just, in the first 2 seasons of Rugrats, which go crazy, there is a two types of episode of Rugrats, right? Mm-hmm. There's an episode of Rugrats that follows the baby's point of view, where you're with them. They talk like people, and they have like their own system of hierarchies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those are funny inherently because of that, right?
Yes.
And then there's the other types of Rugrats episodes where it focuses on adults or people who aren't babies, and the babies will just not talk in those episodes at all.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the babies get into trouble through the viewpoint of an adult.
Yeah, like an
or a teenager, or like just a camera. Yeah.
Like the season 2, the Ice Cream Mountain episode. It's about Stu and Drew playing mini golf and, being very like petulant towards each other. And then the B plot is the actual Ice Cream Mountain stuff, where it's like Angelica is like dragging the babies along to be like, come on, we gotta I saw this Ice Cream Mountain. And then like they end up like unraveling this like grift unknowingly that's like going on at this mini golf course. And,
or like even,
but the main thrust of like the plot and the humor is through Drew and Stu and their brotherhood bickering,
or even like the high school episode where like Tommy's mom takes him to high school, and like it's about the high school kids reacting to a baby and Tommy walking around as like a little baby and stuff like that. Like those were the 2 types of episodes, like, or A and B plots sometimes, and they work. It works when you see the babies react and behave like older than they actually are, and it works when the babies are just purely babies, just for the adults to react to. Those both work fine. However, the further we get into the show, the more it becomes, we are watching the babies talk and interact with each other, but they're just babies, and we lose the premise entirely.
Yeah, and do they say words that aren't the words that they're supposed to be saying?
That's just like the joke now. Like there's like no actual, like one of my favorite jokes is like Phil and Lil arguing, and Phil goes, if knowledge was gasoline, you would have enough to power an ant's motorcycle around a penny. That's like early Rugrats jokes. There's no way they could possibly be able to say that later on, because they're just too stupid now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many like
they flanderized their entire cast in a weird way. Go ahead.
The thing also is that I feel like they were mistaking, like, a lot of times somebody would say something and then a baby would repeat it and they would say the wrong word that sounds kind of similar to it. But later on it becomes like they just mispronounce words.
Everything.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's the joke. It's not that like, somebody says something and then they misunderstand it and they repeat back what they think they heard, and that's funny. It's just that they just say words wrong. and that's it. Yeah, and like not to say nothing of like how much better it looks on cells and etc. And like this is a funny thing because I feel like, and this is again getting into Rugrats minutia. I'm sorry, we're gonna talk about All Grown Up in a second here.
Yeah, we have to talk about Rugrats, but like this has to happen. Go ahead.
But a lot of people agree that the original run of the show, which is seasons 1 through 3, like after that is the drop off point, like when it was revived. I think that the Hanukkah special is still really good.
No, it is like
which is between season 3 and 4. And I feel like it still has like it is a little bit in that energy of like the later seasons, but for the most part, it still feels true to it. I think that Paul Germain, who is one of the main writers on the show for the early seasons, views basically anything that he wasn't involved in as like pablum crap. Like he just doesn't like anything that they made, which is like pretty funny because Arlene Klasky and Gabor Chupa still were in charge of the show, even after the reboot, but like, or the revival, whatever. By the way, there is also a reboot of Rugrats. If everybody,
it looks
everybody
like dog
on
shit.
Earth probably fucking forgot it existed, incling me. So, and
dude,
then
you can't make me talk about that. Why?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
That shit like ass.
I only remembered it because I was looking up Chucky's hot mom, and I saw her CGI model. I was like, oh fuck, that's right.
Wait, do you mean his dead mom or Kira?
Kira, his actual mom.
Kira.
Not his fucking.
Oh wow! Oh right, okay.
All right, hold on.
Jesus Christ!
Somebody's biological parent does not mean that they're the real parent.
Dude,
he was
she
like
fucking got
2
sick
years
and
old
died.
when.
Oh my god, dude!
When she married Chaz, he was like 2 years old. So like,
why
he doesn't fucking remember.
I hate that dead bitch, dude. I hate that dead bitch so much. This is crazy. Wyatt said,
this is something that I like
real
about
mom and the dumb fucker who died.
This is something I like about All Grown Up is that they truly treat, it's like, they treat like that is just my mom. Kimmy is just my sister. Like it isn't even like, oh, you're my half sister or whatever. It's just 100% you're my sister because we were babies when we became half siblings. So it doesn't even fucking matter. Like we might as well.
We're just straight up siblings.
Be siblings,
To be honest, it's so funny whenever Chucky introduces his Japanese mother as his mom. Because Chucky definitely they'd be like, yo, you Asian? And Chucky be like, no. But like,
I'm Irish.
Like, culturally, I'm Asian.
Yeah.
I will say, it's funny. I do think like, while the later stuff of Rugrats is a little iffy, right? Mm-hmm. I do think Kimmy and like Kira's a good addition. Like I do think Rugrats in Paris is a net. I think Paul Germain actually worked on that, didn't he?
Yeah, and I do think that there are characters that are introduced late in Rugrats that end up finding a new life in All Grown Up, like Harold, which we will talk about. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Like there are things where I was like surprised to find out, like, oh, this actually started here and then was transferred over to All Grown Up.
I guess let's get to All Grown Up. Let's look at the special first. The special is also bad. It's crazy. The backdoor pilot, just like we talked about, like how the baby part's bad. The teenage part also pretty bad.
It's just like very boring plot, in my opinion. It's just like Go ahead. I want to hear.
They didn't know what All Grown Up was yet.
Yes.
Because when I tell you that, like, with the exception of Dill, that no one in that special is how they will be in the actual show, I mean that. They were like, Phil and Lil's joke is that they're twins and they're close and they like to eat spaghetti because it reminds them of bugs, like when they were babies. And then I feel like there was a meeting and someone went, why the fuck are we defining these preteens by what they were like as babies?
Yeah.
No one has ever been defined by what they were like as a baby ever. And everyone went, that's a good point.
My favorite example of this is Chucky, because he has what I would consider to be maybe an extreme glow down is how I would describe it, in the sense that like he's way more entertaining, or he's like entertaining in a different. I love Chucky in the original Rugrats. Don't get me wrong, but like he's a way different character All Grown Up, and he's such an asshole, but it's really funny. So it's just like he becomes a much worse person. Like he's not like racked with anxiety anymore. He's just like
depressed and
Yeah.
sad and
He's
annoying
like a
and
prick
shitty.
to all of his friends, and like really,
and the thing
there's
is,
like
though,
the
it
episode
works.
very later on when he thinks Tommy and Kimmy are dating, and then he gets so angry about that he's like, no, Tommy isn't my friend anymore. I'm not friends with him. And they're like, dude, you've been friends with him since you were literally a baby. And he's like, nope, don't care. Fuck that guy.
He basically says like, I guess I'll die not being his friend then. And just like, it's so funny. And everyone goes, Chucky, you're being unreasonable. And he will go, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny. He's like, the thing is though, but in like the backdoor pilot, he's like, yet again, oh, he's shy and like this. Like, no, he wouldn't have to be the way he was when he was a baby. I think it's funny if you make him a dickhead. Also, my favorite thing about Chucky is he has a deviated septum. He like has like all these issues, wear glasses. He is not a nerd in like the nerdy sense.
Yeah.
There's so many episodes where he looks down on people who like card games or like nerdy television. It is so funny.
Yeah.
Like he's like, listen, don't let the looks fool you, dude. He would hate Star Wars. It's so funny whenever it happens, dude. It's so good. Like
there is a good
they really
joke
did just figure them out.
Yeah, in that episode that I just talked about, like when it's a Halloween episode as well. And he talks to like a bunch of nerds and to be like, fine, I'm desperate enough to try to get these guys to be my replacement friends. And then they're like, we're going as a carbon atom because we have 6 electrons. And then he's like, how about a nitrogen atom? Because it's 7. And then they're like, yeah, simple civilian, whatever. They just like make fun of him and like walk out. So it's
Chucky's
like,
oh my God, shut the fuck. I hate you.
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Chucky's
He's like, he's not involved in like that nerd culture or anything. And
one of my favorite
I
jokes.
also, go ahead.
I was gonna say one of my favorite jokes from Chucky is he was like, "Man, Tom, you have everything. Like what? Good hair, good nasals." I'm like,
Good teeth.
Shut up. Good teeth.
Yeah,
Dude, Chucky's so funny. He's like he's so depressed. Like he's so sad, and he's like, "Yeah, I have he says straight up, he says, I have awful self-esteem. You can't just say that, Chucky. You can't just make it clear. Yes, I can."
Yeah, and Tommy, like very generic in the backdoor pilot. He really comes to life in All Grown Up. He feels very similar to his dad in.
Yeah, he's just kind of a dude.
Yeah, because I love Stu. By the way, he's like he's definitely very high up there as far as like favorite character in Rugrats, and like. Not only does he like, he has like the purple hair like Stu and everything. And he's more like, I would say like both him and Dill are like different aspects of Stu because Dill is like the more creative
like
type.
Arts,
and then he's like the laid back dude kind of angle of Stu. Neither of them I would say are like Dee Dee because she's the she's I don't know, just the Jewish mom. That's how I could describe.
I would say Tommy sometimes could get like he could get a little high strung like Dee Dee.
Sure, yeah. And I was just gonna say she's exactly like my mom. But except for just without the child, not the Dr. Lipschitz thing. My mom didn't give a shit about that. But yeah.
I will say Tommy. Some of my favorite Tommy moments is Tommy's like he's kind of a dick in a different way than Chucky. Mm-hmm. Tommy will like. If something's not directly affecting him, Tommy cares 40% less about it. Yeah. It is like the funniest. Like Chucky's crashing out over Christmas, and Tommy's like, "Yeah, I guess. I don't know." What do you mean? He doesn't say, "Dude, I'm Jewish. I don't really give a fuck." But he basically feels it the entire episode. He's just like, "Yeah, all right. You never had a Christmas tree? That's crazy, Chucky."
Yeah.
I guess, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Yeah, Tommy gets a lot of, like, especially early on. And I will say, like, we talked about it a bit, that, like, season 1 is definitely the weakest season, which is good because you want season 1 to be the weakest season of a long-running show. It, like, really goes up in quality in season 2. But season
they get them so quickly.
Yeah, season 1 still has good episodes. It just definitely feels like they're proving that it's different from Rugrats. Like that's what every episode in season 1 felt like that I watched. So
I feel like by episode 5 of like All Grown Up, we really get the characters' vibes. And by season 2, when the redesigns hit, that's when they're like, "Oh, we're solidified it. We know exactly what the fuck we want to do." Yeah. Also, great idea just doing a full redesign of everybody not everybody but the main kids anyway for season 2. What a smart idea. And it's actually a thing that most people don't even pick up that they look different, honestly. Like
I think that's just a very natural change and everything. It kind of reminds me of like this is like a minor thing because it wasn't like a complete character like all the characters got redesigned or anything. But in Craig of the Creek, Craig's mom, they started off with like just like a scarf, like kind of like a more reserved hairstyle, and then they give her like the braided locks in somewhere in season 1, maybe in season 2, and then that's for the rest of the series. She has that design and it like looks way better. Like the original design is still cute, but like this just
she looks hot now.
Yes, exactly. We will get into when we get to the Craig of the Creek episode. Don't you worry,
dude. Fucking 5-parter, dude. I'm not gonna be able to be stopped. But yeah, I guess so. Also, like, I guess for Tommy's traits, like, because Chucky's like looks like a nerd, isn't really a nerd, all that stuff. Tommy's whole deal is that he wants to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he is so dead set on it. He has like posters about movies in his room. He only thinks about movies. He loves to be a creative. Mm-hmm. He loves to make shitty little art films. He's really funny. Tommy. Also, Tommy's like cool and doesn't know it. Yeah. Girls love Tommy. Everyone wants to hang out with him.
It's so funny. It's just be like, because Tommy, like he's the main character of the universe. Yeah. And even if he doesn't know that, and it's like, that's why everybody always just follows him in the Rugrats, is because he just has this like magnetic personality. You know, he's like this centrifuge.
He's like Don Draper.
Reality, yeah.
Tommy's going to get older, get a drinking problem, and cheat on his wife. But you know what? We're going to love him for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tommy Pickles is Don Draper.
In the first episode, he's going to get a dog for his daughter. He's just going to adopt an entire dog.
Dude, he's gonna be named. He's gonna be called Chucky Finster, actually, in the sequel.
Yeah.
Because Chucky blew up during the war, and Tommy stole his identity.
Yeah.
Guys, sorry for all these Mad Men spoilers. I'm sorry.
Let's go. Everybody watch Mad Men. But what was I gonna say? Oh, Tommy, E.G. Daily is so good.
Crazy range.
She's like, because I thought she was a great voice actress in general, but like. Mainly I associate her with original Tommy and Buttercup from Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, Powerpuff Girls, yes, yeah.
Those are very, like, high-strung, high-pitched characters. Like, you know, Tommy is obviously doing all the baby talking, and Buttercup is more of a, like, younger punk, you know, whatever. Her as Tommy is so good. She's like perfect playing this type of character. The fact that she can like exactly capture the cadence of Stu, like that kind of like chill, laid back guy as Tommy, and like it's still recognizable as Tommy, but it feels. But like it
sounds like Tommy was 13. Like it sounds like he just got older. Across the board, the voice acting in the show is crazy because you would think that like no one's recast. Mm. Everyone's a Rugrat voice actor, but all the performances are like, dude, how did y'all do that? Y'all all do sound like you aged 10 years. What the fuck? How are you able to do that? Like we just talked about Chucky, but Nancy Cartwright also. Yeah. Chucky doesn't sound like a baby. He sounds like a 13-year-old with a deviated septum.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He sounds like, very like when I've known a kid who sounds exactly like
yeah,
Chucky, but like you know, like and it was like that age, not you know had like gone through puberty and still sounded like that, but like Nancy Cartwright is so fucking good as Chucky, even though like. Chrissy Cavanaugh is always going to be like the peak Chucky, like in the early seasons of Rugrats, but like Nancy Cartwright, you know, like again, you just think of her as Bart, but she's able to like the entire time I was like, man, she is so good. It took me like a couple episodes to realize it was her because at first I was like, who is this? It can't be, you know, Christine Cavanaugh because she's not doing voice acting. She died at some point. I think she quit voice acting before she passed away, but you know, she you know, she was not voicing like Chucky and Dexter and everything at this point. So I thought like, oh, is it Candy Milo? No, it doesn't really sound anything like her. And then I got to the Yu-Gi-Oh episode and then I was like, oh my God, it's Bart. And then, but it was like, she just does such a good job differentiating it from like the Bart voice or from the like the original Chucky voice. It just like fits so well. And then same thing with like Kat Susie as Phil and Lil.
Yeah, I guess one more thing on Chucky before we go to them. But like, I think it's crazy because like I agree with you. Where like her Chucky voice back in the day, I was always like, I don't know. Same way I feel about like the Dexter recasting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is like her Chucky. Like I think when I think of her, like Nancy Cartwright as Chucky, I'm gonna probably imagine all grown up instead of Rugrats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like because of how good performance is. But yeah, Calf Susie is it's crazy. I was just arguing with Kathy about like a month ago that that Calf Susie has a range. And Kathy like, I don't know, she always sounds the same. She's like, nope, I'm about to show out real quick.
Yeah.
Phil and Lil don't sound like alike to me in this. It's kind of crazy when they're in scenes together.
They sound like you would expect twins to sound. You know, like they're still like the same person, you know, like genetically or whatever, but they obviously have different personalities and different, you know, like they spread out a lot after, you know, being kids. And also her as Betty.
Yeah.
Like she's just really good at doing, like, yeah, she has like the Phil and Lil voice, you know, little boy and little girl, but she has multiple different mom voices.
A lot of MILF voices in the
like not just like the sweet loving mom like Kanga from Winnie the Pooh or anything, but she's also, you know, like Betty, who is the more rough and tumble kind of, you know, soccer mom,
strap on wearing mom.
Yeah,
soccer this
is one of those things where I'm like, I understand why they made her a lesbian in the reboot. So that's the
dude, when I tell you that their father is not around, Howard was like in maybe one episode I watched. I was like, where is this nigga, dude?
Yeah, she's like, mostly with Chaz, like working at the shop.
And
I don't think that she's like, I don't think she's interested in Chaz, obviously. I think Chaz is
they're
faithful,
buddies. They're buddies.
Yeah, to his wife. I'm just saying that, like, that's the dynamic that we get between her and one of the other adults, not her and her own husband. I think I only remember seeing what's his face, Howard, in like the first episode, like, or one of the first episodes that was like Phil and Lil moving to different rooms, which was again one of those like, we got to make sure you know that it's Rugrats but it's different kind of episodes. Still like a good episode, but not. We would get better. Like I think that later on the soccer episode is a better like conflict episode between Phil and Lil. It doesn't feel as like artificial of a conflict as that one did. So
I guess we should go into like Phil. So Phil and Lil, I think, have the biggest jump from Backdoor Pilot and first two episodes to this. They fully take those guys. They get the hardest redesign. Their redesign is the most intense, actually. They literally go back like, these guys got to look different. They got to behave different. Phil is like just a gross 12-year-old, but he's also like funny and kind of dumb.
Yeah,
like it's great. But Lil, on the other hand, Lil's the perfect character. I'm sorry, everybody. She is like so perfectly genderless in this show in a way that's really funny. There's so many episodes where she's like, I am not a girly girl. I am also not a tomboy. That means nothing. Like, I'm like, she's so real for that. Like, she hates hanging out with her friends who are girls because they just talk about boys and dressing. She also hates hanging out with friends that are boys because they're just like, talk about boy shit and are gross. She's like, the first non-binary character in television. Thank you, Lil.
Then her like getting like, I feel like her being into soccer like really fits in that because that's a very like non-gender specific sport. You know? Like it's sporty without being like tomboyish. You know, like that's the way that I would describe it. And then like I mentioned it to you in the Yu-Gi-Oh episode, the fact that she's like going on Pojo and
neck decking,
I was like, oh my god, that's such a good character twist. Is that she's the sweatiest one of all of them? She's like, what the fuck, casual ass deck are you playing?
Yo, she said to this nigga, you don't check the newsletter? I'm like, oh my god, shut the fuck up, Lil. She's like, oh my god, y'all don't check the dude. Like, she's like, this is not mana efficient, dude. Oh, you're gonna brick with that hand. I'm like, Lil, shut up, God. She's so funny. She's like the perfect character. Every time Lil gets a Focus episode, I sit down for peak. I know it's about to be so fucking good.
Yeah, and you know what else is? Like we talk about. Oh, I guess we need to talk about Kimmy as well, who I've watched. I tried to watch as many Kimmy episodes as I can find, just because she's the character I probably know the least, just because she's a late Rugrats character. So I wanted to get like a feel for her. I really enjoyed the episode where she's like getting in touch with her like Japanese heritage, and
Chucky does a racism.
Yeah, Chucky is like being very like, you know, like, no, you're not Japanese, you're boo 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 or whatever. Like he's being like very like pissy about it because he wants, you know, like he's like, oh, you're my sister or whatever. He feels very like possessive, I guess is a way to describe him in general, like over Kimmy. Even in like there's like an early episode with some in like season 1 that he's like very possessive about her over a boy. And just I really liked that episode because it was just very sweet to see this girl kind of like coming out of her shell and like falling in love with her own culture. And something that she feels like she actually has like a real connection to, and wants to like make that connection again because like her mom is from Japan, you know, so it's like, I don't know, it was just like nice to see that like that kind of thing where it's like it's very sweet that her and Chucky are just like, oh, we're siblings. Like we don't need to
we have
think
the same mom and dad.
Like it doesn't matter if we're different ethnicities, like we still see each other as brother and sister like 100%. But it's also very sweet for her to like kind of find her identity beyond that and like have this like arc of like accepting that part of her and like again like falling in love with that. And I was also very happy when she went to like the Japanese club and there was one of the like random characters also there was voiced by Janice Kawaii, which is was Jenny in My Life as a Teenage Robot.
It's so interesting because you think it's like going to be a one-off episode thing, but no, Kimmy's journey of like understanding that she's not white like her friends and her dad and her brother is so interesting. It's kind of weird they do it in the show because it's like there's a good episode where Kimmy's like really upset because her dad didn't send her anything for Children's Day, and Chucky's like, what's Children's Day? And I'm like, oh man, you're such a bad brother to a Japanese woman, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and he, like, oh, but your dad's gonna come into town and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. It's really neat that like she's so embroiled in it, and it also leads into like her relationship with like other characters. Like, she also like is very close to Susie. And like talks to Susie a lot, like sees her as a big sister, which is important. I don't know. It's like some fun like textual stuff of Kimmy has grown up and is now aware that she's the only one of her friend group who isn't white.
Yes, that
she's like, oh, and she go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that she's like a different whatever. Like she feels like she stands out to some degree, and wants to like become comfortable with that instead of like feeling ashamed of that or feeling like isolated by it. So.
And she starts hanging out with like the other like non-white people in her neighborhood and stuff like that. And like it makes sense. It's like it's very much a journey a lot of people go through when they have like very, very white friend groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's neat. I didn't expect them to give multiple episodes to it. And I think it's also not Kimmy's only plot. Kimmy also across the board is funny because she's like, if Tommy's cool on accident, right? Kimmy's cool on purpose, but isn't aware of it. And I think that's really neat. I do love Kimmy episodes. I love her interplay with Lil. I love her interplay with Chucky because Chucky's insane and Kimmy's pretty normal. There'll be an episode where the plot is like at the Finster house and Kimmy will be fucking just like, oh, this is whatever. And Chucky is like on the brink of taking an assault rifle to school. Like it'll be the
I do want to give a shout out to Dion Kwan, the voice actress for Kimmy, because again, like she hasn't had many roles. Like her main role is as Kimmy. She's also Trixie,
and also Trixie from
Fairly Odd Parents, as well as Yasmin and Bratz, which I don't know anything about, so I'm not gonna comment on Bratz. But like, I found out that she was legally blind, so she had to read the scripts in Braille. Which is like, that's really cool. I never that makes sense to me because obviously if you're blind, you still have the ability to speak. So it's like, yeah, you can just be a voice actor. I just knew that there's some people that either couldn't read or whatever for whatever reason, whether it just be like they don't know how to read or they can't see, that would need to have somebody else read the script to them. So the fact that they just made Braille scripts for her is
It's
really cool.
neat. That's really nice. Yeah. I do want to say before we get to other characters, still sick that this is a show that is still so deeply woman led.
That's true.
One of the things that's always been cool about Rugrats was like the creators and like all the voice actors of the main cast and stuff like this, all women. And I'm glad that All Grown Up didn't change that. There's still like I think the only men you hear consistently is the principal, Stu, and Chaz. I think that's it. The only men you hear consistently. But we should talk about Dill, who is like, Dill is the character that is the most different from when they were a baby, because Dill wasn't a character in Rugrats. He was just a baby.
So they had to like invent whole cloth. Like, what would he be? What would the son of, like the second child, basically, of these two be like? And
they said fucking insane. They said fucking crazy. Like, just off his fucking rocker. Kathy kept saying when we were watching the show, it's because he got kidnapped by monkeys. And I can't argue with that. Because I do think him being kidnapped by monkeys as a baby definitely changed some developmental stuff about him.
And I will say, as a youngest sibling of 4, I will say that I'm also insane, just like Dill. So I totally understand the young sibling having to be weird to like stand out. So
we're both youngest siblings of 4, both of us. Oh my god, and we're both crazy as shit.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I only lived with 2 of my siblings because my oldest sibling was old enough that like
same.
Like when I was born, he was already old enough to like live on his own. So there's that. But like so my older brother and older sister though were, I remember actually watching, now that I'm talking about this, my older sister is like quite a bit older than me too. Like she was like 17, 18 when like All Grown Up was airing. But I remember like watching the pilots like with her because, I was a little baby boy and
hey, little tiny Wyatt.
And like even though I'm sure the teenage girl didn't want to watch cartoons with me. I mean, she was a big fan of Family Guy and Boondocks and stuff, but
yeah. For reference, Wyatt didn't have like a teenage white older sister that was into Boondocks.
Okay, yeah, that is. I should mention that my oldest brother and sister are black.
Yeah,
I am not. It's very similar to Chucky and Kimmy.
Oh my
actually,
god, dude, you're the Chucky.
Where it's like my father remarried with a white Jewish woman, and not, but his previous wife and previous children were black. Like he had a.
But but Dill's whole deal is that Dill believes in aliens and is a psychic, is an insane. He's a tabletop RPG designer. That's not a bit. He does make tabletop games. It's really funny. Dill's really fucking funny. I think every time Dill gets an episode, it like. I know you posted the meme of like As Told by Ginger, where like a normal episode. Meanwhile, the Z and Carl subplot, and it's the SpongeBob in the back rooms. That's Dill's plots in these shows usually too. Dill would be like, "Yeah, I'm just having a normal episode. Meanwhile, guys, I got an illegal video of an alien autopsy. Who wants to watch it?" Dill, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, the fact that like the final episode of the show.
Yes. He's like, yeah, I got a hands on a murder of an alien. What the fuck are you saying?
I have real footage of goblins that I caught on camera. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's so funny. He's like, guys, watch this. I can walk backwards, and just starts walking backwards and like this. What the fuck is he talking about? Like, there's also a really good bit of Phil and Lil going, "It's because we dropped him a lot, isn't it?" Yeah. He also creates a tabletop game called Annoyance, where the game isn't winnable, and it's just made to get you angry. And once you get angry, you lose. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is the point of it? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. He's just like a chaotic entity. Like,
there's a funny thing where Tommy has to go to Hebrew school, and Bill's like, I don't want to do that. And Tommy goes, "You're Jewish also, idiot. They'll make you do when you get older." Yeah. And Bill's like, all right, bet. I don't want to be Jewish anymore. And he makes his own religion. And it's like the plot of this episode. I love him so much. Yeah. He's so good.
Yeah, that is also a thing where I feel like it was a factor in As Told by Ginger. But obviously, like, Rugrats has it a lot more baked in, like the Jewishness of Tommy. Like in like the entire, like, the Pickles family in general. And I've mentioned it before, but fuck the ADL for all their stupid pearl clutching about everything in the Rugrats, basically. And, like, I just learned this. They were mad about that episode because Tommy didn't want to, like, learn Hebrew for his bar mitzvah. They were like, this is anti-Semitic. Like, it's like, fuck you. Just shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up.
Literally, the first joke in the episode is Tommy going, I don't want to go to Hebrew school. My friends like to go to Hebrew school. Hebrew school sounds lame. And his mom is like, Tommy, your friends go to Sunday school. And fun fact, they think that's lame too. That's like the first joke we get in the episode. And it's so real. Yeah. Tommy doesn't hate going to Hebrew school because he hates being Jewish. He hates it because all kids hate doing religious things.
Like, it's just like, yeah, they don't, like, even if they become faithful later on, they're not usually, unless they're like, I guess, really into it or whatever at a young age. They're just not gonna, like a lot of times they're like gonna not care as kids. That's just like a normal thing. I don't know. I don't need to keep on bringing up how much I fucking hate the ADL because it's, and that is not to say that I approve of anti-Semitism, by the way. Obviously, it's just that they're fucking scumbags with supporting Israel. But two, it's just like they just have so many examples of like, what are you talking about? This is nothing. There's like actual.
They ignore the real stuff. Like,
you're like, oh, but Elon Musk, he was just like that. He was shooting his heart out to the audience or whatever. It's like you are Hitler. Like, you are supporting him. Whatever.
But I was gonna say is I do like. It's so hard to get kids to care about religion one way or another unless, like, kids want toys, food, and outside, bro. What the fuck are you going to do to, like, make them care? That episode, by the way, of Tommy going to Hebrew school is maybe the funniest episode of the show.
Yeah.
It is hilarious. Tommy is, like, just bad at being Jewish and will lie about it. Because this nigga goes, yeah, my dad's a rabbi, so he can impress this Jewish girl. Stu isn't even Jewish.
Yeah.
Stu is fucking goddamn Protestant or some shit.
Yeah.
And you're just lying on your dad like that. Like,
that's the thing.
Then you have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, with Dee Dee, you can just look at her, not the stereotype, but it's just like, yeah. Whereas, like, Stu, he has very unassuming look to him, so I don't think that it would be as easy of a sell to be like, this guy's Jewish. So that is all I'm saying about that. So it's very funny.
Also, that episode includes Chucky seeing Tommy get a girl from going to Hebrew school and does maybe the most out-of-pocket thing that happened in the show, where Chucky proceeds to start changing religions to get bitches, for lack of a better term. He starts with shit like this: I'm going to just go to church on Sunday. He goes to church on Sunday, and he's trying to flirt with them, and they all look at him disgusted because he's trying to flirt during church, and he's like, let's get out of here. Fuck it, Phil, this sucks. Then he's like, all right, guys, let's see if Islam or Buddhism will work. And I'm like, Chucky, what the fuck are you doing? I can't believe this episode got released. Realistically, I can't believe it got released. Like,
it's that is just so funny. Like,
like
you're trying to be like, all right, the Mormon girls, time for me to get in on that shit, and then like.
My favorite is like a Muslim girl looks at Chucky and smiles, and he goes, Phil, this is it. Phil, this is it. Phil, this is it. It's the funniest goddamn scene in the show. He's the fucking devil. Chucky's so evil.
He feels empowered by the fact that he has a non-white sister that he's like.
Honestly, I think him having a Japanese mom made him more out of pocket, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's like Chet Hanks. He's like Chet Hanks out here, dude. He's crazy.
But I think the last group that we absolutely need to talk about
is the actual teenagers.
The trio of Angelica, Susie, and Harold. Oh my God. Maybe my favorite characters in the show, for sure.
Dude, whenever I saw an episode and opened on Susie and Angelica, I fucking like rubbed my hands together and was like, let's fucking go. Like, the way, like, I think this is funny. I think Dill works really well, and the others work really well because they had no development to build off of. They were just babies, right? Mm-hmm. I think the opposite is true for Harold, Susie, and Angelica, that they had development to work off of because they were, like, a little bit older than them. Mm-hmm. And they developed it in, like, the most realistic way for these three people who've been friends since they were, like, 4.
Yeah. It's so, like... And here's, you know, to compare it to As Told by Ginger again, with, like, the two popular girls in that.
Yeah, Miranda and Courtney.
Yeah. Thank you. I completely forgot their names for a second. You know, you have, like, the white blonde girl and then the black girl as the triumvirate, and it's easy to draw the connection between Susie and Angelica. Very different dynamic, you know.
Yes, deeply, deeply, deeply different dynamic.
Yeah. Like, Susie never lets Angelica rest for even a fucking second. She is, like, always, like, winding up the
She's
roll
on her
quarters.
ass. On her fucking ass, dude.
Yeah.
Every other one like this, oh, we're scared of Angelica. We're scared of Angelica. It seems like this. I'm not fucking scared of this bitch. I've known her since I was 3. There's nothing to be afraid of.
And
like Angelica is like this. I'm such a good person. Who's like this. No, you're not. I love you. No, you're not. You're not a good person. You're a bad person. And Angelica's like, I know.
Yeah. And Angelica, I always felt like was like my favorite and the funniest character. She is so good. She's elevated
She's so
to
funny.
A teenager. Like, I feel like they only made this show because they're like, it would be really funny to see what Angelica is like as an evil teenager. Like, that is, dude, like...
These three, I love all Grown Up. I had a great time all the way through. Mm-hmm. Angelica, Susie, and Harold could carry a show alone where they're in high school proper. They could carry it easily, and it could just be a comedy because they're so funny. Their interplay is so goddamn funny.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Harold, like, he's a late addition to the cast, like from the original Rugrats, and or like side character that would appear every so often. And
Harold
is in
Frumpkin.
the same, yes, and he's in the same age group as Susie and Angelica, and he's like the sub in the sub-dom relationship between Angelica and him.
Yeah.
To like a hilarious degree, to the point where it's like, but he's also like such a kind, friendly soul.
Yeah, he's just...
that it's very wholesome. It doesn't feel like she's even taking advantage of him, even though
he would just do it anyway.
He's just like... He just loves her so much that in like the way that a dog loves you, like not even you know, like, again, not like romantic, not trying to get anything from it, but that's what makes it work. That's what makes it work. I told you this in private,
nice
that
guy.
Like,
yeah.
I slowly started to be like, oh my God, this is great. Not because Harold is in love with Angelica, but because Angelica is in love with Harold. Like, that's what's good about it, is that she needs him so badly because of the way, like, because she needs somebody to push around and control. Susie, like, is always pushing back on her, and, like, sometimes it's like, all right, fine, I'll do this stupid thing that you want me to do. But Harold is always game to do that.
They're like a perfectly balanced polycule. I don't know how else to put it. Like Angelica, like Susie and Harold, just friends, but they're both dating Angelica because Angelica needs a purely good person in Harold to push around, who could take her evil and turn it into sunshine.
Yeah.
And she also needs Susie to go, you gotta fucking stop now. Like, without them two, Angelica would be a sociopath blowing up cities.
Yeah.
Like, she needs both of them to balance her into a human being that's real.
There is a whole episode where, like, she spurns Harold's affection, and then he ends up, like, falling in love with Susie instead, and she crashes out so fucking hard in that episode. She ends up, like, there's a scene where she's, like, walking, and then she, like, stops by a playground and sees, like, 2 kids that look exactly like her and Harold playing in the sand, and they have, like, the same exact relationship. She's, like, hallucinating these like doppelgangers, you know, like, that's how obsessed she is. It's just so funny.
It works on the other end because Susie is like, the dynamic is so shitty. Susie's like this, Harold, you guys start doing nice things for me. I can't handle this. This is too much niceness. I don't know how Angelica handles it. And Harold just goes like this, oh, because she's evil. my niceness just goes into a pit
Yeah.
with her. Like, you know, it doesn't bother her because it's just a pit of bottomless
like she
pit.
feels some type of like shame or obligation or like, oh, I don't want to keep taking advantage of this person. And Angelica's like, I love taking advantage of every single person I possibly can.
It was so funny. Every episode they get together is the funniest episode I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, because they have that episode where, like, you just see how, like, oh, this is how their dynamic works and they can switch. And then we get the episode where Angelica, like, loses her Cynthia doll. First of all, Angelica has another schizophrenic episode in that episode. Because she keeps having these breakdowns every few episodes of the rules. She's like this, I keep my mom won't let me go to Hawaii. Oh, my God, can you believe it, Cynthia? She goes, I haven't spoken out loud to Cynthia in years. Yeah. Where is she? And she starts looking around the room for Cynthia, her doll. And I'm like, Angelica, have you seen a therapist?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be. As someone who speaks to themselves and seeing a therapist, you kind of just did it very casually. And the episode is just Angelica, who immediately calls her two polycule members of Susie and Harold and starts screaming and crying and throwing up that she can't find her doll.
Yeah.
And they have to go to like a toy convention to get it back.
Like going to the thrift store and going to a toy. I was like in hog heaven. It was just so good. Like that in the card game episode, I'm like, these are some plots made for me. You know, I love it.
Yes.
Love this. And here's the thing. Like overall, like we are very high on the show supply, I would say, like at this moment. But like, I do still think overall, As Told by Ginger is just so much stronger written and more sophisticated of a show that it just like takes the cake
definitely
easily. But this show remembers that Rugrats is supposed to be really funny.
Yeah. So I think this show is. If Classy Spooko is like good at teen dramas, can do multiple versions of it. Them deciding that As Told by Ginger will be the coming of age story, and this will be the comedy of being a preteen show, is the smartest decision someone made on Earth. There could have been a lot of bad crossover that could have made one of these shows feel redundant.
Yes.
But it doesn't happen, and it's so nice. Like, I remember being a teenager and getting my first bit of money, and also a new Yu-Gi-Oh set drops, and I lose all my money.
Scrounging around and being like, oh, I got exactly $4.50 so I can buy a new pack of Invasion of Chaos or whatever. Like,
yeah. Chucky screaming though, what the fuck is a synchro monster? What the fuck is a synchro? But like that's a good plot. I remember being a teenager and like getting put on punishment for the first time when I felt like I'm too old for that to happen. You know, this show, like As Told by Ginger, wants you to go through the process of watching Ginger evolve and get older, right?
Yeah.
Rugrats wants you to go basically. The thing of, hey, isn't it neat how babies see the world and experience it? It goes, isn't it neat the way preteens experience the world and see it? Isn't it funny? Yeah. And it works. It works so well. Like,
I think it works, and the reason why it gets much better as it goes on is that the first season and the original special just felt like, wouldn't it be funny if the Rugrats characters were older? And it just exists to justify itself.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it feels like, whereas later on, they're like you said, they actually feel like they are tackling these issues, like, and these are the characters. It's interesting because these characters are tackling these issues, not because they're the Rugrats characters, but because, these are these preteen characters going through these issues. And I don't know, there is a bit of it's more lighthearted, it's more like, it's like lower hanging fruit as far as like the topics and everything that it goes for. But again, like I feel like that it just works very well. There's maybe you could like criticize the show for it's like selling out, it's trying to be whatever, blah blah blah, just like appealing to whatever, but I feel it's like works surprisingly well, and again it just like gets really good as it goes on, and there's like really great episodes all the way up until season 5, you know. So, and all the seasons, like, it's very short seasons too. So if you want
10 episodes usually. There's like you could just power drive this really easily. I think across the board, this show reminds me of when cartoons used to be made to do a thing, and that's it. And I don't think it's bad to like have grander stories and stuff like that. I think that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But there was an era of cartoons where you would come in with a concept and go, I can squeeze out 50 episodes of this. I want to say this show feels very Simpson-y in a lot of ways.
Yeah, which makes sense because like shared DNA,
Yeah, but like the way this show comes in of like this is a premise, and this premise is wide but funny and relatable. We can squeeze out as many episodes as we need to, and the show just kind of keeps going and does that. And like they do throw in a wrench every so often to make it more interesting. Like, oh, Angelica's mom gets fired. Let's see where that goes. How did that affect Angelica? Like, it works really well. I also think, and we didn't talk about them. We talked about it a little bit because we talked about the controversy. Every episode with Grandpa Boris is the best.
Yeah.
Every episode with Grandpa Boris is the best. That is the funniest Russian man to ever live.
It's just, it annoys me. Again, I don't want to get into that. But it's just like, I just love, that's just how old Jewish people are, old Russian Jews. It's just Arlen Klasky's parents. Like, that's just, like, why are you getting angry? That it's just like, okay, I love my parents. I want to portray them as they are. And it's like, yeah, they may not be this idealized fucking blonde-haired, white, blue eyes, everything like the exact Aryan, like, perfect Jew that you want them to be, so that it doesn't seem offensive or derogatory or whatever, but like it's real, it feels real.
My favorite joke is when Tommy likes the girl he meets in Hebrew school, his grandpa goes, yeah, I remember when I met your grandma. I also lied to women. I love to lie to women to get them to love me. What did you lie about? I said I was a butcher and I love butcher and being a butcher and butchery. Oh, wait, weren't you a vegan? Yeah, but that's not important. And it's just like, he's so funny. He's like screaming. Also, when him and Grandpa Lou are together in the last episode, we remember, oh wait, these niggas have beef.
Yeah.
And it's over nothing. It's just two old niggas that don't like each other. And the funny thing is, they love their in-laws. Boris loves Stu, and Lou loves Dee Dee. And it's so funny. Like, I feel like that's where the beef comes from. Like, well, Stu called me. Well, Dee Dee called me. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah. God. Good stuff.
Good show.
Watching the show made me rewatch some Rugrats, too. Like, I was watching some season 2 episodes of Rugrats and talking about it and doing whatever. And then, like, I watched, like, a season... Like, you go and watch, like, a season 6 or 7 episode. It's, like, fucking terrible. Like, it's just,
weird.
like...
It's weird.
I'm sorry. There are people online... I, like, looked it up on Reddit. Or I looked it up on Google, and then I found a Reddit thread that was, like, why does it get way worse later on? And there are a lot of fans that are like, oh, I grew up with the later seasons, so, like, I don't understand why people don't like them. I think that they're fine, but they are just, like... Yeah, they have nostalgia for it, but it's like, it just feels like objectively inferior. I'm sorry to throw that around about art, but like, they're all like, oh yeah, well, it's like, there's no more humor with the parents, and like the music isn't as prominent, and like, it's just less funny, and the characters' dialogue is dumbed down, and the plots are less inventive, and the visuals are worse. Oh, but it's still a good time. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? There's nothing left after all that. It's like strip mined,
dude.
Of all of its
like
appeal.
My favorite thing nerds do, and I've said it before, is like, I want to go like this. Yeah, so like, it's bad and it looks bad and it sounds bad and I hate watching it, but it's pretty good. Like,
yeah, it's like, it's fine to have a comfort show, I guess, that you're just like, whatever, mid, who cares?
Like, we started the episode off with it, but like, the issue is that the actual problem with the show, if you say it, you sound insane.
Yeah.
Like, if you go, they focus too much on them being babies. You sound like a psychopath. Like, there's no way to say that and not sound fucking bonkers. Like, it's like this. The issue with Dexter's lab later on? What? They focus too much on the Dexter in his lab, and like, that's not the actual issue with Dexter's laboratory. But it's like the same level of saying it. Like, you feel like, what the fuck are you saying?
Isn't the point of it the babies or whatever? Like, yeah. So I feel like, again, you can like it. It's fine.
You can like whatever the fuck you want, dude.
Yeah.
We're right. Like, over here on Cartoon Buffoons, we give you the objectively correct answer, which is whatever me and Wyatt say, even if we disagree, is true. And you're like, oh wait, what if you guys disagree? Which one's true? Is equally true. But I do want to keep in mind that Wyatt is a white man, and I'm a black woman, and you should be raising my voice up. So maybe when you decide which one's actually correct, you keep that in mind. But like.
I'm glad I have you as a podcast partner.
Me too. I love you, Wyatt.
Yeah.
We're hugging. You guys can't see it. Don't look away, you fuckers.
But all right, is there anything else you want to talk about with the show before we wrap it up?
I guess one thing is there's an episode where Angelica stays at Susie's house. Because her mom is like, I'm tired of this evil white bitch. And the episode's great because the whole time Angelica keeps getting told by Susie's parents, yeah, you can't do that shit in here, little white girl. And it's great. It's like really one of the funniest episodes because like it really does show the difference between black parenting and white parenting. And it's good. There's like it doesn't fall into like any of the like tropes of like child abuse or any of that stuff. It doesn't do any of that. They just go, no, Angelica, you can't do that. You can't do these things. And it ends with Angelica going, you know what? I learned the lesson. Mom, Dad, you probably should have disciplined me more. And it was the funniest ending for an episode. Like, let's eat dinner together like people, please.
We did kind of, like, glossed over Cree Summer, of course, as Susie.
God.
Like, that, I mean, she feels like Susie definitely feels like she is the Cree Summer, like, premiere role. Like, I think probably, like, one of her earliest roles, maybe in, like, Tiny Toons as, what's her fucking face? The Elmer Fudd. What the hell's her name? Elmira. That's it. But the first time that they were like, all right, we need a black character in this show full of white babies. Cree Summer, do this. And she has said in many interviews in the, intervening years that it's like, if you need a black girl voice, hire me. Or they will just hire me or whatever. Now, obviously, there's a lot more.
There's a lot more, We
voice actors, like, especially, like, in shows like Craig the Creek, where there's a lot of black characters. It isn't just, like, a token character or one family or whatever. It's, like, multiple families of different types of characters, which is, like, that's how you do it. You can have, like, that's how you avoid stereotyping. It's just, like, look, you can have characters that fit into certain stereotypes, but they actually represent real people. Yeah, as long as you have a wider breadth of characters to talk. That's why it's like, if the only Jewish characters in the show were Boris and Minka, maybe I could see the argument that they are like harmful stereotypes of like with the Borscht Bell
full of
accents
Jewish
and
characters.
Everything. And then say, but yeah, well, you have fucking Tommy, main character of the, like maybe not so much in All Grown Up, but like he's a very prominent character, and it's like, yeah, it's an important part of his identity, but it's not like written all over him, and he isn't full of like a lot of these stereotypes.
I do feel like sometimes Susie in the original show could feel like just such a perfect little girl because she had to be the black girl that's perfect. I do think it's funny that this show plays with that. We introduced to more black characters. We also get introduced to Susie's whole family, like her sister and everything. They kind of make a joke out of the fact that her father and mother are like surgeons, and also her dad writes scripts for movies. It's crazy. Yeah. And I do like that there's an episode of Susie going, guys, am I perfect? And Angela goes, yes. What? Yes. You're so perfect. I hate you.
I think
it's like they play with it a little bit. And I think that's like important to do.
She kind of had the Franklin problem, like from Peanuts, where it's like you put in the character to be like, and like Charles Schultz was like, I'm very invested in the like civil rights stuff that's going on in like the 60s. I want to put in a black character into my comic strip of white children in Minnesota, and he put in Franklin, but then he felt like, I can't do anything. I can't make him as like neurotic or weird or evil as Lucy or whatever. Like, I can't make him an interesting character because I could accidentally, because he's the only black character, so he has to represent the entire race basically. And that's just like, that's what I'm saying is like, just stop fucking putting in token characters and put in more characters of a certain type, have multiple trans characters so that one doesn't fit a certain, like you're not just saying like, oh, all trans girls are like this or all trans men are like this or whatever. Like, you can avoid that by just having multiple characters of like a certain like minority group, whether it be race or sexuality or gender expression.
Or gender,
that's just my, again, white guy opinion. So it's just take it with a grain of salt. But I just feel like they did a good job taking Susie and elevating her into a more interesting character. She isn't she isn't the toady to Angelica. And I feel
no, she has like a lot of episodes that focus on her. Yeah.
Yeah, as told by Ginger, I wouldn't necessarily call her like subservient to Courtney. It's just that she's like
she's an accessory. Yeah, like, in a lot of plots though. Like
she's like I don't know. She's like the super ego to her. You know, she's like that's what she's like the logical planning part, whereas like Courtney's very like okay, you know, she's very like Labrador Retriever, you know, like kind of like
I think
pretty and clueless, you know.
I guess like as like a black woman, I think the thing that makes Susie work so much for me is that while she is like Harold and like defined by Angelica, right? Mm-hmm. Angelica is just as much defined by Susie. There's a lot of episodes that are about Susie where Angelica is like the extra character to bounce things off of Susie, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it works. There's also episodes where Susie is like with Kemi or someone else. Like, I think that's the thing that makes it work so well is that like she gets just as much focus. We're not seeing a Miranda focused episode for the most part because Miranda's just a villain. You know, we don't really need it. Miranda's just a villain. We don't need the focus on her. But also, As Told by Ginger has other black characters that are forefront, so like it's fine. But yeah, I think Susie came out of this like I know we talked about it earlier and we love it, but the Harold, Susie, Angelica dynamic works because all three of those characters are fully realized.
Yes.
I think if any of them lacked, it would not work nearly as well. I love it so much. And I'm actually kind of a little bit insane. Like, I know you mentioned it about it. I'm, like, insane to see what these three are like as 26-year-olds.
Yeah.
I know they're still friends, but, like, I know they, like, have, like, the weirdest, like I hate to say it like this. Yeah, psychosexual thing going on when you're 30. Like, they go to dinner and just, like, Angelica's mom like this. Honey, you're 30 and you brought Susie and Harold to Thanksgiving every year since you were 18. It's just, what are they to you? I'm like, Mom, shut up. They're nothing.
Yeah.
I hate these two. All right, I guess.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. But okay. I think that's a wrap on that. I think we talked everything we need to. And a wrap on this little month that we did of Nickelodeon
Happy
shows.
Happy Nickelodeon April Fool's month, baby.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do this. We're recording this all in March, so it's not even April yet. But it was a blast. We're going to be returning to Cartoon Network, and I'll state it again at the end of the show as well. But for people that are listening to it now and don't want to listen to the their sign-offs and our plugging and whatever, next thing will be My Gym Partner's a Monkey. So, okay. So I guess lock in for that. But Morgan...
Dude, I hate it here, dude. I hate it here so much. Go ahead.
Where can we find you on this internet?
Hey, everyone. You can find me at Girl Next Door on Blue Sky and also on Tumblr. I post about vampires. I post about art. I post about cartoons. But yeah, also same name, Tumblr and Blue Sky. If you want to get on Blue Sky, you gotta very much hurry up because I heard that an amusement park in France has released a giant robot that is starting to stomp its way over to Blue Sky to destroy it. So you gotta get there in a hurry. Wait, just got a report. There's a giant snail robot there also. So gotta get on that. Wyatt, where can we find you? Go ahead.
I was like, maybe I should watch the Rugrats movies, but then I remember they're probably not very good, but I do kind of want to watch, because Chucky's mom is pretty hot, so I do want to see.
Dude, that. Chucky's mom is also the villain in the Rugrats movie is fucking hot.
Yeah, I saw her too. I was like,
dude. Wait, Wyatt. Sorry, before we end the episode proper, before we do your sign off stuff, hottest mom on this show. Actually, there's a lot of milfs on this mom. It's going to be Kira for you, right?
She's high up there. I would say it's a dead heat between her and Betty, just in general, just because I like the... You
love a butch woman.
Yes.
Dude, when I tell you, I don't know, man. I gotta smell Dee Dee. I don't know how else to put it. I'm sorry.
She's too close to my mom.
No, that's fair. That's fair for you. My mom, however, is not a sexy Jewish woman, so I'm all over Dee Dee. Something crazy. When she started yelling at Tommy, I'm like, damn, fuck. Yeah. Anyway, where can we find you?
I will say that I was like looking through like the voice actress Melanie Chartov. My mom's name is Melanie. Just saying, it's very close. Just like the Pokemon gym leader Melanie, that people are like, oh, is hot mom. I'm like, I understand she's hot. Do not want to say Melanie is hot.
It's hot.
Online.
No.
Let's not Let's not cross again, not Freud buffoons. Let's not go there.
That's a different show we will be doing next year for April Fools. We'll be doing Freud Buffoons. Everyone look forward to that. Wyatt, where can we find you?
Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Wasp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. Mostly stream of consciousness stuff. I didn't get to say this in the previous episodes because time, but if you've been following me this past month, I have no doubt been obsessively posting about Metroid Prime 4 because of the new trailer, possibly trailers, plural, who knows. And so get ready for that. But if you want to support the show, going over to It's Only Magic on Patreon, $3, you get next week's episode, which is the Mind Your Partner as a Monkey episode. If you're if you're listening to this on YouTube, or if you want to listen to it for free, and you're listening to it on the Patreon, you're like, I don't want to pay this motherfucker money. We're a week behind on YouTube, but you can go there for free. So It's Only Magic. Want to start making videos again? I have a couple planned. I don't want to say them out loud just because sometimes when you speak an idea into the universe,
you jinx it, yeah.
Yeah, it jinxes it. It gives you the same accomplishment chemicals as actually doing it. So then you're like, oh, I don't need to do it anymore. And then it just falls apart, which I don't want that to happen. So I'm sorry. I keep on seeing people posting about Samus's new suit and on Blue Sky, and I'm like, it looks so fucking good.
Dude, I'm going to eat the back pussy of that suit, dude. I don't need to know anything about Metroid. I saw the curve of that back suit. Dude, I'm going to be tonguing that shit down.
Yeah. For the record, we're recording this episode literally minutes after
after the review.
The direct ended, so... but anyway, that'll do it for Cartoon Buffoons. Join us next time. And what?
I was say, and Nickelodeon month. Yeah,
yes,
we're cleaning up the splat, guys. No more goo.
Yep, none of that shit. Next year we'll do Disney. So I guess get ready for I don't know what the fuck, Brainy and Mr. Whiskers. We're gonna do that.
Come on, we're waiting for the weekend. We're living for the weekend, baby. Come on, fuck you.
This is a good one. I think. That's tempting. But anyway, until next time, we're gonna fucking talk about My Japan as a Monkey. Man, I haven't seen this show in 4 years after doing my video. I had no desire to revisit it, unlike Camp Lazar. I'm like, yeah, I have good memories of this show. So I guess we'll see.
Who knows? We might bitch about Legend of Korra again. Who knows? But yeah, thank you for listening.
Peace out.
Bye.